Hello everybody, my name is Munish Bobby Dogra. I'm currently enrolled in MUS309 and I'm going to go ahead and present my project. The genre of music which I chose was salsa music, and I chose salsa music because, I don't know, I've always had a liking towards it. I just never had an excuse to look at it in depth, so when we were presented this project, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity for me to look into salsa music. One thing that I do know about salsa music is that it's very happy and upbeat, which is why I really like it a lot, and that led to me choosing my topic, which is can salsa music help enhance mood? So with that being said, I'll go ahead and talk about the history of salsa music. It started in 1959 when a guy by the name of Fidel Castro claimed control of Cuba and turned Cuba into a socialist nation. What that meant was that Cuban musicians could no longer come into New York and American musicians could no longer go to Cuba. So that led to, in the 1960s, In the 1960s, Puerto Ricans in New York took the Cuban-inspired Latin jazz sound and they refined it into what is now known as salsa. Some artists that really took salsa to the next level would be Willie Colon, Celia Cruz, and John Love. One of my favorite personal songs, personally one of my favorite songs that I've heard throughout doing this whole research and really just getting into salsa music, and even after the research project was done, I started listening to some more salsa music. One of my favorite artists is Mark Anthony, and he actually is the person who sang my favorite song, which is called Vivir Mi Vida, I think. And that is my favorite song just because, solely off the fact that when you listen to that song, you feel like you're in such a good headspace, and that's kind of what I wanted to prove in this research paper. Even if I fail this research paper or I get 0 out of 100, whoever does read this paper, I just want you to know that if you are suffering with depression, if you're suffering with anxiety, if you're suffering with fear of any sort of fear, music is a very good source of, not medicine, but kind of like a holistic approach to curing those not mental illnesses, but I guess technically they're mental illnesses. So yeah, that's what I wanted to prove throughout this paper, and use this paper as an advantage to for whoever reads this paper, to kind of enlighten them as to what music really brings to the table. So yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna go into talking about my interview, and my interview was actually very powerful. I did about 3 interviews. I interviewed 3 different people, but I chose to stick with this one interview because it was very content heavy, and the person who I interviewed, her interview fit perfectly with what I was trying to prove. So with that being said, let's talk about the interview. For my interview, I interviewed a girl named Maria Enrica. She is currently a student at CSUN actually, and she grew up in Santa Ana. Salsa music and salsa dance played a huge part in her life. Her mom made her take classes at a young age. Maria also became a teacher for salsa dance, and she was in a salsa music band in high school. She moved out to CSUN, she moved out to Northridge for school, and unfortunately the band broke up. But why salsa music is so significant and why I chose this interview to put into the paper versus the other 2 that I did was because, and it's about to get really deep right now, but when she was very young, her mom and dad used to dance to salsa music just randomly in the house. Before dinner, they would be dancing to salsa music, and everything was super happy and stuff. But when Maria became super involved and super passionate about salsa music was when unfortunately her dad passed away. When her dad passed away, her family fell into this just dark time, and salsa music is kind of what kept the family together through this time. which is why I like music so much, because she was still in that band. She was still teaching salsa music. She was still dancing with her mom. She was still dancing with her younger brother. And when times got really rough, she said they would sometimes just play salsa music, some of her dad's favorite songs, some of her mom's favorite songs, some songs that her and her dad used to her mom and her dad used to dance to, and they would just kind of like forget all the bad stuff that happened and just remember all the good times they had, all the good memories that were associated with those specific songs. With that being said, I'm going to transition into my conclusion, which was that I believe my hypothesis was correct. I believe that music truly does play a huge part in enhancing your mood and just helping you go about your day. I mean, I make music myself. I make like hip-hop music, rap music, R&B music, and whenever I listen to like some of my old songs, I'm like, wow, I was in a really dark place at this time. You can tell in my music. So music is something that just, if you don't trust a therapist, just write some music, write a poem, listen to some music, and I promise you, you'll start to feel a little bit better at least. So yeah, with that being said, my name is Munish Bobby Dogra, and I hope you enjoyed my project. Thank you.